YouTube, how the heck you doing? So it's been a minute since the last tier list where we went ahead and did season 6. A lot has changed with season 7. A lot of the primary units that were really good are no longer that good. So there's going to be a lot of changes to this. I'm just going to go ahead and get straight to this so that this doesn't take 10,000 years. So first off, we're going to go with I. I is probably in the average tier. You mainly see her in keeps as of right now. She's not that good when it comes to towers. Obviously, you go ahead and build her 500 attack speed. Keep it pushing, right? Super simple. Allura. Allura is just, are you trolling? Like, if you're using Allura, I really don't know what to say. You're not trying to win. Uh, Alistair, I would say Alistair is probably in the bad category. He's good as a unit whenever it comes to PvE, but when it comes to PvP, especially for guild v guild, you're really just trying to pump out as much damage as you can, or at least CC. And as of right now, he doesn't really do either of those things at a very high level instantaneously. Honora is going to be in the super strong category. Honestly, I might even need to add a new category. Let's see. I'm going to add a row below. And let's go ahead and name this good. I'm going to put her in good. Now, the reason being is because Honora is one of those units where she really benefits from a Lord. If you're not placing her with a Lord, then it's a little bit tricky. And unfortunately, she is contingent on you having Ymrit. If you have Ymrit, then she's probably in the super strong category if you pair her with a Lord, but just on her own, good. Let's see here. Anai is bad. Actually no, she's trolling. She does no benefit for your team. Also, she is in the Infernal faction, and the Infernal faction is just not really going to help you that much in this particular meta for Guild v Guild. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. You'll never see an Anai ever in Guild v Guild, probably. I would say Araka is in the average category. Right now, Piercers are just not that good in towers or keeps. And then on top of it, as it stands, Yovar is just a better Lord in just every single way. The only thing that Araka does well is that she's placed on the ground. And if that's the only thing you have going for you, then unlucky. Ardea is going to be in the good category as well. Ardea is mainly used in those Ingrid teams, so unfortunately, she might actually be super strong. I'll put her in super strong because she is one of the most valuable components to those Ingrid teams if you have her, because she's able to go ahead and do a lot of damage to the Fool, and she's also able to go ahead and do a really good amount of damage to Ma as well. And she's basically the ultimate anti like bug insurance policy. Ardith is niche. Actually, no, he's going to be bad because in the past he had some use in season 6 based off of where you were placing him, but right now in season 7, cultists are pretty weak overall. They don't have that much staying power, and you're really looking for damage dealers in the esoteric faction, at least as of right now. So unfortunately, because I actually like him. Ares is bad. He's a fighter for the Nightmare faction, and as of right now, he just has no playability just because he's not dealing enough damage. And that's honestly just what it comes down to right now. Nightmare faction, they need to have a lot of damage, and he just doesn't do it. Ares, I would say Ares is in that good category. He is actually... I'm debating because I actually like Ares a lot. I'm gonna put him in. I'll put him in super strong, but I might change it. I actually really like Ares, especially whenever it comes to just pairing him with Ingrid, because Ares is going to go ahead. I think he hits air when he's in ult. I think he does. And then also, he just has a really, really good range. Like, pairing him with Ingrid also goes ahead and gives you that Ingrid boost because of the Lord bonus. And he's also dual faction with Esoteric, so he is good in that regard. You're really going to see Ares whenever it comes to towers. Maybe not as much for keeps, but for towers, he is a menace. Especially with A1 with that extended range, he is a menace. Arrogance. I'm going to put Arrogance as good. Now, it's again back. Most importantly, Arrogance is good only in the keeps. He's not that good for towers because As it stands with towers, you're going to swarm him, right? With a nightmare team that's usually including arrogance, people just go ahead and do tank, full, tank, healer, healer, double necro, double dogs, GG. Right? So arrogance is in the good category. His main saving grace as to why he's not in the average tier as of right now is honestly just because he has some viability in the keeps in that one little corridor. That's honestly it. Artemis is just bad. You will never see Artemis really get used in a guild v guild setting. Aspen's trolling. Like if you're using Aspen, yikes. There's a lot. I would rather somebody use Livian than Aspen, right? Aelin is just bad. Honestly, just comes down to the faction with her. Like she does provide damage mitigation and some really good range for her healing, but she just doesn't do enough. She doesn't have a revive, and as of right now, having a revive mechanic is the most important thing when it comes to guild v guild, unfortunately. Azur, he's bad. Honestly, borderline trolling, but he's just bad. Even though he goes ahead and provides you with stuns, he is not the best tank in the Nightmare faction. He doesn't have a self revive, so he's worse than Baron, who's next on this list. And Baron's actually going to be an average because you can at least go ahead and use Baron to some degree, but even in this current meta, he's just not that good. And it's insane because as you go through this list, there's a massive disparity between these different tiers. There's a huge disparity in what's actually viable and what works and what you will see. Beatrix is bad. She just doesn't have any use. Boreas is good. He's also one of those units that is in the esoteric esoteric faction. Words are hard today. He's an esoteric faction. He helps you when it comes to swarming, but he really needs Cyrus. And unfortunately, right, both with the Nora and with Boreas, if you don't have Cyrus paired as the Lord, you're not going to get the most amount of effectiveness out of them. And because they have those really hardcore conditions to be good, they just kind of fit into this little bubble of good. There's nothing wrong with being good. It's just where we are. Now, Brokir, I don't care. I still say this every single time. I think Brokir is the best tank in the game. He is disgusting for Go v Guild. Having that freeze passive, also his damage mitigation whenever he goes into his passive, also his shields, he's just good. Bruner trolling. I think this is Calypso, or not Calypso, Callista. Just who uses her? Nobody. Calypso is bad. She doesn't really have that much use. She just doesn't have enough damage. And also, one of the main drawbacks for Calypso is the fact that she needs to go ahead and scale. And honestly speaking, within the first about 45 seconds of a guild v guild match, you can usually tell if you're going to win or lose. And you can't wait 2+ minutes for her to go ahead and scale and become full potential, unfortunately. Carnelian. I hate the fact that I don't have Carnelian. She is arguably top 2 in Guild v Guild in terms of healers right now. Actually, I don't think it's arguable. She is just top 2. It's between her and Lily. They're just god tier. They're just ridiculous. Abomination, he's going to be in the average tier. He has some use if you're not going ahead and running Wukong. Team will typically be Tordor, Abomination, Arrogance, Hot Sit, and then healer, right? So either Carnelian or Lily. But as it stands, Abomination is kind of like a worse Wukong. He does have his invulnerability and then his like revive, which is kind of nice. But he's just not that good. Wukong, I'm going to put in super strong. And I know this sounds weird, but I'm going to be very selective with what actually goes into the god tier. Because there's a couple units that are good, they're just not god tier. Cerberus trolling. Any unit that has a inability to heal or get healed is just going to be bad, right? Cerberus is just not it. You can use an epic and probably have better success than using Cerberus. So, the next one, Ingrid. The first Lord in God tier, and she might honestly be the only Lord that I go ahead and put in here. It's very possible. Now, the reason why Ingrid is in God tier, she can be used in towers. She is the tower queen right now. Bar none. It's not even a question. She's just good. And also, she's really good when it comes to keeps as well. It's just hard to place her anywhere else other than God tier. She's probably the best pound for pound Guild v Guild unit in the game. Constance. Constance is going to be in the good category. She has some use in towers and keeps. However, the towers that you see Constance in are typically the Praetus, Ingrid, Constance, Rokir plus healer tower. And it works, but it's just not perfect. It's good, it's just not perfect. So, Constance is going to be in the good tier. Crash, he's in the bad tier. I've actually seen a Crash team in Overlord get like 6 wins. I don't know how. But it happened, right? Now, Lady Alexandra, I'm going to put her in the. I have to put her in the good tier, but it hurts me. She is really good for keeps. With her artifact and her ability to snipe across the map with Praetus, she's kind of devastating. Like, she's arguably super good, but because her only like place right now is in the keeps, she's unfortunately just in that good category. Cyrus, this is going to be one of the more contentious ones. I'm moving Cyrus out of God tier. I actually don't think he's God tier right now. He doesn't really have that much use when it comes to towers. Like, he is used, but he's just not like that guy that he has been in some of the other seasons. He's good, just not perfect. So he's going to be in the super strong category. You also don't necessarily see him super often in keeps. He's good, but he's outclassed once again by Ingrid, Praetus, and then just the different combinations that you're able to make with those two. And then Torador as well has some really, really viable options, which kind of overshadow what Cyrus is able to do. And because Cyrus is failing in this current meta, it also brings down the other esoteric units as well, unfortunately. Dahlia's average. She's just not that used. Desomi, average, just not really that used. Demi, average. I hate to say it, but Dolores is just trolling. She's just not good. Durza, trolling. I'm kind of just rallying through these just because not much to say. We have a lot of units, so no point in delaying too much. Edith is average. You will see her with those Ingrid comps, and it helps a little bit because she's able to push the units back, but she just doesn't have a self-revive, so it kind of hurts her overall. And there's other alternatives to Edith that will go ahead and still give you block and some additional CC and some additional survivability. Elder is trolling. Elwyn is bad, and it sounds so weird because Elwyn is such a good PvE hero, but as it stands, she's just not that good. And she really hasn't been good in Guild v Guild since like season 4. I think season 4 is like the last time she was actually good. Season 5 she was used a little bit, but she wasn't like god tier. So Elijah, I'm gonna put Elijah as good. She's actually really, really sneaky whenever it comes to those keeps. She just has the ability to hit over the wall, do those bounce hits, and honestly she has a really good chance of just sniping out a couple units just based off her damage alone. So she's pretty good. She will go ahead and be in that good tier. You know me, I hate this. For the Arbiter version of Carnelian, she is pretty much outclassed by Carnelian in every single way. And it sucks because she honestly should be God tier. Like, for how rare she is, she should be God tier. But unfortunately, she's just average. She has those bounce heals. She has the Watcher boost. She has the Arbiter boost. It's just she doesn't keep units alive enough, and it sucks, but that's just where it is. Ezrein is going to be in the super strong category. Now, he is the best of the rest whenever it comes to healers in Guild v Guild. He is top 3 relatively easily, but he will never break into top 2 status. He just doesn't have enough, unfortunately. Falsia, bad. Furcy, I'll put Furcy as average. She has some use. Ajax, super strong. Ajax is probably one of the most important units for the Nightmare faction right now whenever it comes to the season. He is the reason as to why the Nightmare teams work. It's kind of similar to how season 6 was, where Ajax was just very important. He's just as important now, definitely. Gon is average. He has some use, just not that popular. Admiral Claw. Admiral Claw is also kind of in a similar boat. Usable, but as of right now, he kind of gets stuck in this like weird bubble because he can almost hurt your team more than he helps your team. And as of right now, I'm pretty sure dogs move faster than his pull. So you're not really going to get that much use out of him, which is, the whole purpose as to why he's good, or he's supposed to be good. He's supposed to pull units, but if the units are faster than him, then you're not going to get any benefit. Let's see here. Giselle's bad. Glacius is average. He has those freezes, but he's just not that meta relevant because Northerners are just so weak. Greed is going to be in the good tier. Greed is going to go ahead and be paired with Ingrid a lot of the time. Give you those slows, give you some good CC, give you a little bit of damage, and let Ingrid just take off. But he's just going to be in that good category. Gwendolyn, she's trolling. She's just trolling. Hers is also trolling. Northerners are just really weak right now. Unfortunately, just really weak. Hotsit, super strong. Now, she's a little bit of an exception because Arrogance is in here, but Hotsit's up here. The reason for that is because Hotsit is another one of those staple units in the most meta-relevant team for the Nightmare faction. She just gives you good damage. Quite simple. I'm just going to go ahead and rally through some of these because I think this row, for the most part, is all bad units. So, Helga has some use in cultist teams. Or not cultist, esoteric teams. A little bit for stuns, but nothing too crazy. Hex is average. Hollow is average. Init is bad. Yovar is... I'm going to put Yovar good because I've seen some interesting things with him where he actually does chunk out units. So he has some use. A little bit of use. Next one is going to be Jira. Jira's bad. Cade, bad. Kai, trolling. Comet, trolling. Kigiri, bad. Kineza, trolling. Kriya. Kriya's average. She has some use in those cultist teams. Some use. She's kind of like a cross map nuker is like the best way to think about her whenever she's like fully like ramped up. But on the initial front, she's not that good. Crowdor is bad. He typically just dies because he tanks too much and then he just gets too much damage and then he just, can't deal with it. Lasir, trolling, just horrible. Leia, trolling, her range just doesn't work. Lily, god tier, not even debatable. Lily and Carnelian are the two best healers when it comes to Guild v Guild, and it's not close. Lily is honestly everything that Eunomia should have been. And Eunomia should have should keep her attack speed like buff from her ult. But Lily is everything Eunomia should have been. It's so unlucky. Livian's average. You'll see her never, but she goes ahead and gives stun, so she gets a pass. Lucius is average. He doesn't really do much. Luguru, average. Lust, average. Actually, no. Hold on. No. Lust is trolling. Luguru is trolling because any unit that goes ahead and hurts themselves to go ahead and do more damage is just not ideal. Also, there's no placement for Luguru in this current meta. No placement for him. Lyra, trolling. She has a good faction, which is the esoteric, but she just doesn't do enough to be relevant. Magda is actually strong. She might even be super strong. I'll go ahead and put her in good because she's only really used in Ingrid comms to go ahead and boost Ingrid. Face backwards towards a portal in the towers so that she can go ahead and knock the units back if they go ahead and get to her tile. And then Ingrid also gets that penetration boost. Then Ingrid just starts wiping away at the rest of the map. So that's where you go ahead and build her. Magmus, horrible. You're trolling. Mari, she's always going to be in the average tier just because in low level Guild v Guild, she is very devastating because her freezes and her slows can be obnoxious. But in high level Guild v Guild, she's just Mari, right? Maul, he's also going to be in that same tier, average, not that good. Um, Maul is trolling. Now, I've heard good things, really good things about Morrigan, so I'm going to put her in super strong. She is a lord, she's cultist, but as of right now, there is one team that has been developed that I know of that is just unbeatable. Like disgusting, just really good. So I'm going to put her in the super strong category. The next, Micah, trolling. Nocturne, trolling. Nyx, bad. Olog, trolling. He's nice because he has like the additional block whenever he ults, but he has no revive. And that's the thing. No revive. Actually, I'll put him in bad. Aurum is trolling. Pelagios is average. He's not that good. Phineas, bad. Praetus, super strong. I don't think Praetus is God tier. In this season, he's great for keeps, really good for keeps, but not that great for towers. He's actually kind of a liability in towers, just a little bit. Ingrid's consistent all around. All these units, these 4 units, are pretty much consistent all around the board. Doesn't matter where you put them. Tower, keep, they're consistently going to go ahead and be really high performing. Razak, trolling. Reeve, average. He's okay. Regulus, he's going to be in the good category just because he's another tank. But he's not even really the main tank that you'll go ahead and use whenever you pair him with Ingrid. So that's where it kind of stands. Next one, let's see. Rygar, bad. Sadie, bad. Salazar, bad. Salazar is actually trolling. Sargak is bad right now. I don't know what her name is. Celine, bad. Seraphina, bad. Setrum, trolling. He's just not good. Shamir, bad. He gives you some slows and some like CC, but he's just not that good. You get no damage from him. Silas is average. He's easily baitable in terms of ults. He just doesn't do enough on a consistent basis. Also, his targeting gets a little bit weird whenever he's attacking because he's going to go ahead and focus on hitting the unit with the lowest amount of defense. And so whenever you swarm him, he almost helps you, right? Now, next, Sulkaden. Sulkaden is going to be in the average tier. He doesn't really do much for you. He's nice, but he's an Infernal, and Infernals are just not that usable. Tallulah is also going to be in the bad tier. She just doesn't have a revive. Any unit that's a healer that doesn't have a revive is almost forced to be relegated to the average / bad tier, unfortunately. Now, the next one, Thalin, I'm going to put Thalin as good. He actually has some use in keeps specifically. He'll go ahead and cross map the units, and that's nice. Whenever he goes ahead and ults, he can almost force your enemy to go ahead and take one of their units and basically use it as a sacrificial lamb, and that's always going to be helpful, right? The more units that you're able to bait out, the better. Thalin, or not Thalin, Theowen, super strong. He's actually really, hold on. Is he though? I'll put him as good. Reason being is because he's very, very important for those Watcher teams whenever paired with Ingrid. He goes ahead and inflicts those slows from his ult, and it's GG. Torador, God tier. Torador is the main enabler for the Nightmare faction, main enabler for Wukong, Hotsit, Ajax, Arrogance, and because of that, he has to be in the God tier. He is probably the last unit that is going to be in the God tier, just realistically. Trusk, trolling. Twin Fiends, trolling. Twyla, bad. Yrden, honestly trolling. If you're using Yrden for a defense, you're trolling. If you're using it for BP, you're smart. Valderon is good. I use Valderon. He helps you whenever it comes to taking out Maw, but you can't necessarily use Valderon on his own. You need either a full chaotic team, or you need a really good set of another Lord paired with him to go ahead and cover up the rest of the inefficiencies that he has. Valeria, horrible, trolling. Valkyra, she's good. She is okay, right? She's definitely serviceable. Venema, average. Unfortunately, there's a bug with her. I swear there's a bug where she doesn't go ahead and inflict curse on demon soldiers. I don't know why, because if she did actually do that passive, she'd be pretty good. But it looks like she's bugged. Virna, she's average. She doesn't really do much for you. She's nice because of the ult, but overall you're not going to get that much benefit from her. Volca, same thing. You get some healing, but you need damage in this season. Vortex, he's bad. Zarus, he is average. You will see him in those cultist teams, but if you're able to go and tank up the first two sets of his ult, you win. You win. Xena, trolling. Horrible. Ymrit. Ymrit is super strong. Ymrit is the ultimate flex unit when we're thinking about this current season. You'll see him in Nightmare teams. You'll see him in Arbiter teams. You'll see him in Watcher teams. You'll even see him in Cultist teams. So he is almost God tier, but the fact that he's not a Lord he kind of forces me to go ahead and put him in super strong. At least as of right now. Super strong unit, but he's not the main enabler, and you're not going to see him be the reason as to why a team wins or fails. You'll see him be the reason as to why like a team is good, but he's not the deciding factor. Something else enables him to be good. Yuri, bad. Zealous, trolling. Zillatu, bad. Beelzebub. I actually like Beelzebub. I'm going to put him in the good category. He goes ahead and gives you some really good CC with his pull, some decent inspiration as well. You'll see him with Watcher teams. You'll see him occasionally with those Cultist teams as well. But he's not going to be the most meta-breaking unit, at least as of right now. He's good, but he's not one of these. Honestly, Ares might even go down. Personal bias. I just like Ares. He's just really good. Yao Chan, she is average. She's average right now. Lubu, I hate to say it, but he's average. He's not that good. Lynx, I'm going to put niche just because she needs some further testing. Like, she really does just need some further testing to see when Winter's Bite does enough damage, if it goes ahead and gives you enough freezes, and if the unit that you would use her in place of is worth it. So I'm going to put her niche, and then Rox. Rox is average. He's not going to do too much, but he's an epic tank, and there's only so many things you can do with an epic tank, at least as of right now in this season. Anyways, if you want to go ahead and screenshot this just so you have an idea, this is the current list. See ya.